Welcome to Workout Master, episode 27. This is Ruben.
This is Aram.
Hey guys, we have an interesting episode today. We're going to talk about group exercise classes and boot camps and things like that. What happens is we do see a lot of clients that not necessarily can afford a private training or a private instructor, which is beneficial, but not everybody can afford, obviously. So a lot of times I find people participating in the group classes and boot camps, and I kind of wanted to set the record straight.
Yeah.
To make sure that we understand what are the benefits of a group exercise classes and what are negatives of it, so you can balance things in your life a lot better.
Right, there's pros and cons, like everything in life, obviously. And so to start off, I guess we can mention what the pros would be of working in this type of environment. And I think it's a fantastic way, especially for people that cannot afford to pay a lot of money a month on a personal trainer such as ourselves, or many others out there for that matter. And they join places like CrossFit and all these garage gyms and stuff like that people are setting up, which I think are great. I think it's better to do something than to do nothing about it.
Absolutely.
And but the kind of peeve that I have is that sometimes people get hurt. Sometimes ego gets in the way, and they work a lot harder than they should, and they put themselves at risk of getting injured. And it happens more with the females than with the males. And the minute you have in class a girl that's really, really strong, well, guess what? Just like when you have a really strong guy in your group, guess what? You want to challenge that guy, or you want to challenge that woman. And sometimes we do things that actually could be detrimental to our body, cause pain, cause future injuries, and we want to make those points about noticeable to you, so you can make a better decision and to know how to program yourself when you start on these classes.
All right, so we wrote down like a few pros and cons for you guys. So we're just going to run by you and see what you think.
Right, and also before we start with that, there's also coaches and trainers that are really, really good, and they know how to put everybody in their place, and they know how to do things in the right context. But there's other guys out there that are a little overzealous and more like drill sergeants, and they will just beat their clients to a pulp, and that's not good because it's going to set you back. It's going to create all kinds of problems. You're going to start hating exercising, and that's the worst thing that you can do to a person that needs exercise. So a little bit of both is good, but erring always on the side of doing a little bit less and being a little bit more patient with yourself than just going too gun-ho and allowing somebody to tell you how much you should torture yourself, because that's not the right approach.
Our goal is to make sure that you guys are achieving your goals, that you stick in with it, that you are manifesting a lot of health into your life.
Right, and to be patient.
And be patient with it, totally.
Things don't happen overnight. I mean,
the biggest thing that people start jumping into it like full on, and then a lot of times causes the problems that are down the road.
Exactly. It's way too much stress. Don't forget that exercise is one of the stressors. So you got to do it in the measure that the body can cope with it. If it's too much, well, might as well just give yourself, another 2 mortgages, because it's going to feel the same on your body.
Yeah. So let's see, what are the benefits?
There's no benefit. Just kidding. The benefits, the price is great. It's never too expensive to join these places.
Anytime that you can afford it,
right.
Private training,
this places,
yeah, it's usually $5, $10, $15, $20, $25. Right. It can go up to like $30 per class, but ultimately there's a good value for what you get.
And some places they have like a one-time, like a monthly fee that might charge $150 to $250. I've seen in both ranges, and there's unlimited use of classes.
Yes.
Well, that's good, but also you said, well, more classes better. No, you don't have to do a class twice a day. You don't have to do a class every day. Your body will tell you. If you wake up in the morning and you feel like a train wreck, back off. Take a day or 2 off and recuperate. Or do other things that will complement the exercise and the stress that you're putting yourself through, like eat better food, get more sleep, rest more, get a massage. Could be from your wife, your girlfriend, whatever. Don't allow yourself to get too much into the exercise, and don't look at the surrounding components that make the exercise beneficial as opposed to another stressor.
Exactly. I think the beauty of the group is the pressure, the kind of like a peer pressure or a camaraderie or the teamwork where, like I like to play soccer, so for me it's like when you have a good team, when you feed off one from another one, it creates this beautiful sort of energy. Yep. So I find that it's a beautiful thing about group classes, that other people will make you kind of feel accountable for coming to the class, for showing up, for doing your best. So there's a lot of motivation that comes from a teamwork. So I think it's extremely beneficial.
And I come from a background where, you know, there was no team sport. Everything was individualized. Mountain biking, martial arts, you name it. So it was just about, you know, doing the best you can yourself and trying to beat everybody else. Both that has benefits and detriments. Obviously, the benefits is that you push yourself really, really hard and you don't need anybody to tell you. What in these classes, you'll have, you know, somebody with a whistle just telling you how hard you have to pound it, how many repetitions, how many sets, how much rest period there's going to be in between sets. I don't need that. I can do a pretty good job on my own. But if you need it, if that's the way that you feel comfortable, like you do, Aaron, I think that's great. So that peer motivation, that peer encouragement, that peer pressure works really, really good. And I can understand why, depending on the different personalities that you might have.
So those are, I think those are the biggest benefits of a group training. It's inexpensive, and there's a support group.
Right.
There's definitely a support group that you can rely on.
Right.
Now, let's talk a little bit about negatives of it.
But there's one more positive thing that I really like that I want to mention to people, is that usually these classes, they're formatted into a circuit. So you do X amount of exercises, you know, per set, per se. It might be a giant set of 5, 6 different exercises. And metabolically, it's really, really good for the body, because the body has to really push itself hard, and once you just do as much as you can, then you have time to rest. So it's not like a prolonged, like, you know, like doing like endurance training, which we will talk about very soon about it. It's more like you do as much as you can and then you rest. You do as much as you can.
So it's more like an interval training.
It's an interval training.
And it's definitely a lot of times it's not a bodybuilding style of workout. It's more like a functional. So you do lunges, you do squats, you do some pulling, pushing.
You use primal patterns. You do all the stuff that's combination of different primal patterns that make, you know, a more complete movement that's more adaptable to life. Dragging stuff, you know, pulling stuff by means of pushing it or pulling it, or you have to squat X amount of times, squat and jump and reach and pull. So it's a variation of things that I think is fantastic. And metabolically, it's really, really, really good for the body. That's one of the major pros that I see for this type of training. That you'll get tired, you'll get fatigued, but there's going to be plenty of rest period. And metabolically, your body will be really, really challenged to keep up. So your metabolic system is always going and going and going. Where when endurance training, which we'll talk about, is kind of becoming more and more fuel efficient, which is the last thing you want to do when you want to get in really good shape.
Exactly.
Right?
All right. Now, it is excellent, guys. If you are in a group class, I mean, all power to you. It's a good thing that you guys do, and a good thing that you're working on your health.
I've taught many classes with group training from years back to not you know, recent time ago.
Absolutely.
And it's
not big fan of teaching group classes, but I like participating.
It's a bit of a tedious work, and you have to keep your eyes on 10 people at the same time, which I don't really like. But the group classes that we used to conduct, they were very small. They were usually about 5 people, so you can keep your eyes really on top of them. And obviously, one caveat, we never had anybody in class that had any major or minor, for that matter, orthopedic issue. Because then you have to do a lot of work on a one-on-one, and they have to be fully rehabbed before you can actually enter that kind of training. It's like you will not go to the Army, to boot camp in the Army or the Navy, and actually be, you know, limping. They wouldn't want you. They will want you to recover from your injury and then enter the program. Because otherwise, you're gonna get hurt even worse.
Now, the major negative part that I find, actually, it's not even negative. I think it's important. For the when you join a group class, it's important to come up to the person who conducts the class and first introduce yourself, tell them your background, tell them, let's say, if you have any certain injuries, if you had any surgeries. And it doesn't matter if you had a surgery like 20 years ago or 30 years ago. If you had a surgery, that means there's something going on with the body in that particular area. And it's a valuable information that your trainer, coach, or instructor can actually have. And you just tell them what's going on with you.
They need to know.
They do need to know, so don't be shy. And another thing, if you're starting, it is important to come up and say, hey, you know, I'm just starting, so if I stop by any chance...
Please don't kick my ass.
Yeah, don't kick my ass. Ultimately, you got to set the frame yourself. Even though instructor conducts the class the way he thinks or she thinks it needs to be done, ultimately there's not a lot of personal approach, because there could be 20 people standing there. it's an impossible job for instructor to observe 20 people. But at least if you know, let's say if you have a shoulder injury or you have a knee injury, when he comes up with an exercise, he can say, by the way, you better be watch out, or he can pay a little bit more attention towards you.
Right. Just in other words, just modify the exercises to adapt to you, as opposed to you having to adapt to something that you cannot perform, and it runs the risk of getting injured further.
Another thing is very important. Anytime that you have an injury yourself, when you do exercises, don't go through the pain, especially if it's like a bad pain. Nobody wants you to be in pain.
Right. And
the pain is the way of your body telling you that what you do does not work for your body.
Yeah.
So take a note of it. Make sure you modify the exercise. And if an instructor tells you something that you're not doing it well, you gotta say, hey, I have limitations, so I'm doing it within my range of motion.
Right.
Yeah.
And you'll find different instructors that teach the same type of class, and you personally might be better suited to deal with that kind of people. Obviously, if you're a person that don't like to take orders too well, you know, don't find yourself, you know, being trained by a
Drill sergeant.
By a drill sergeant, because guess what? That class is going to end up in a fist fight. I can guarantee you that. So
That's right.
Be aware of that. And that's pretty much it, I think.
The cons?
That's some of the cons that we talk about. Don't push yourself too hard. Allow yourself to use exercises that your body can handle, and if so, allow your teacher to find out how to modify them for you. You know.
Exactly. I would say that's good. Just understand that it is not a one-on-one approach. So it's a group of people,
Right.
and it's important for you as a client to take charge of your health within the group.
Yeah. And you know, don't push yourself too hard. There's no reason for that. As a general rule, I tell people, however long it took you to get out of shape, 3 years, 5 years, it will take you about 1/3 of that time to get in really good shape again. If you do everything the way it's supposed to be done. Your nutrition, your relaxation, your eating, your goal preparations, you know, your goal design, you know, everything else that is a component to your well-being, it has to be addressed. The exercise is just one more. And I always tell people this too. I don't care how much you exercise. If you don't eat right and you don't rest enough, your efforts are going to be almost impossible to achieve.
Absolutely.
Right?
Anything else? Do you have anything else?
No.
Guys, thank you very much. Keep doing the great job that you do. Keep posting the comments. We definitely appreciate it for all the love that you give us.
And I hope that the comments that we have answered, they have been of help. So if everything has not been clarified to the degree that you would like to be explained to you, shoot us another comment, and we'll come in with another comment.
We'll be happy. All
Take
right.
care.
Later, guys.